Hello. Hello.
Hello! Did I figure it out?
Yes, you did.
Technical difficulties.
It's okay. All good. How was your day?
It is good. How was your
It's
day?
beautiful out, so I was just outside and having a wonderful day.
That is wonderful. That is so wonderful.
So I'm gonna introduce myself, and then you can introduce yourself too. Hi
Yes.
guys, I'm Courtney. I have muscular dystrophy. I survived a stroke in college, and I am a graphic designer, and I have my coloring books and a children's book to come. And I love doing this with my advocates and moms. So I'm so excited for Abby to introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I love that. I love getting to hear from a self advocate. I think that's with my daughter not being able to. I love to hear from you and learn things. I am the mother of two. I'm also a nurse. Um, so have written and self-published 4 children's books all about disability inclusion, and I started writing those when I saw just the questions my daughter was asked and that I was asked regarding her, and I just, you know, couldn't sleep at night one night. I thought the words just came to me, and so that's how that was
Yeah.
born. Um, and so that's what it is. So I'm the mother of two, and one of my children just happens to be in a wheelchair and has a genetic disorder.
Awesome. I love your accent. Oh my God. So good. So southern.
It is terrible. It's terrible.
No, I love it. Um, so, can you share a bit about your journey to a mother, a nurse, a disability advocate, and how these roles intersect your daily life?
Yeah. So, kind of taking it back a few years, 15 years ago, this month actually, my dad passed away, and I was 20 at the time. And I always worked at the bank where he worked, and my desk was directly across from his. So when he passed, I had to quickly pivot and find a new job because I'm like, I can't spend all summer looking at his empty desk. So
Yes.
I found this camp called Med Camps, and I had no really clue what it was. I called them up and asked if they had a job open, and I started the next week. And I showed up, and it was actually a summer camp for children with
Oh,
disabilities. And
cool.
spent my entire summer out there at 20 years old. Um, and then I had decided I wanted to be a nurse. And so I went into nursing school and did that. And then, 8 years later, found out that I have a child with a disability. So,
Wow.
kind of a full circle, a God thing that all worked out.
Yeah.
Starting from, you know, working at that camp to being a nurse, and then being a parent of a child with a disability, who now gets to go to that camp. So
Oh,
it's
that's
it's a,
so
yeah,
cool. So when you were at the disability camp, were you like taken back because like obviously you are a able body, yeah, it's a different world in the special needs community.
yes. So you really kind of get thrown in there. 20 years old, I did not have,
Oh,
I'm from rural
okay.
Louisiana, so there's not a lot of I was not around a lot of wheelchair
Okay.
users with disabilities. So that was really my first um, real integration with people with disabilities. And it wasn't just children, it was ages 6 to 16.
Okay.
So we had people with spina bifida,
Yeah.
that were teenagers, and so
Wow.
a lot about all kind of different physical, um, but also different as well. It was a life changing experience, even as a 20-year-old, because I take for granted.
Yeah.
Bed, takes me 2 seconds to pop out of bed. Where with somebody with spina bifida, we were having to, okay, we got to do a catheter. We've got to do this. There's so much that goes into just getting out of bed that as an able-bodied person, I had never seen or experienced firsthand. Um, so just being a part of that started, I call it my mind shift,
Right. Yeah.
see things through a different
Yeah.
light.
Yeah.
Just from being in that camp, I completely started changing my mind shift from that point
Wow.
on.
Yeah. I mean, growing up with no, you said like no disabled, in the school, like completely, that is a jarring summer
Right.
camp. And then you learn about, so many, disabled, so many, you know, rare, disabled, and then you hear about the moms and how, tough it is for a mom. So,
Right. I remember one specific week. She was a 6-year-old. She was a little baby, and she actually could say this but anyway, she had the same name as me, so I'll never forget her name. But I had her that week, and she was my camper, and she did not sleep at all. Did not sleep,
whew,
and she and um I remember at the end of that week, I was physically tired, right? Because I wasn't sleeping, but like the mental aspect of just the not sleeping, the physical toll, everything that she did, it was total care on me, and I had never experienced anything like it at all. Even babysitting, babies
right,
didn't sit up on their own, or they crawl or walk, and so everything was related to me. And I remember giving her back to her mom that Friday and getting in my car and just absolutely crying, thinking, how does she do this day in and day? Like, how is it physically possible? Because I was so just drained. And
right,
like, here I am, and I do it every day, and it is what it is.
yeah, yeah, no, exactly. So, did you want to go to nursing school because of, that summer and you wanted to, have a different job?
Yes, that, and my dad also died from cancer, and so
Okay.
passed from cancer, and then spending that summer with the children really encouraged me to, that was going to be my life path. And so
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah, that's awesome. My mom is a nurse also.
oh, wow, I love that.
Yeah, yeah, she studies cancer. She does oncology research
I
now.
love, how cool.
Yeah, so I mean, having a nurse when you're disabled is the best thing.
Right. That's
I
it.
mean, thank God I have her.
That's wonderful. I love that. How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, without her, no way. And, having a rare genetic, muscular dystrophy, it was not easy growing up, in the 90s. We had no social media, nothing.
Right.
So, you
And no
know, now,
relation, right? Like, did you grow up around a lot of people that were in wheelchairs, or
no,
were you
I
feeling
was the only, I was the only physically challenged in my school district.
how was that?
It was my mom really like literally like told them like what to do. Obviously I'm so lucky that my mom, you know, had the capabilities of, having the time to go to my IP meetings and, but it was a lot of trial and error, like very trial and error.
Right. Have a
Uh,
good experience with making friends and people being inclusive in school?
it was hard. It was very hard. Um, Luckily, I had a brother. He's 2 years old. No, 2 years younger. So we kind of had like the same friends. I was kind of like close to the boys. I felt that the girls growing up until college were just not inclusive.
Right.
uh,
Right.
I think it was, 12 years ago. So now, I mean, it's like night and day. Um, but yeah, it was very, very hard with middle school and my body. Like, I'm skinny, so they would call me like anorexic,
Right.
and it was like a lot of mental work too.
Right. Well, and two, like this is before like social media now, you
Right.
can see representation and you don't feel alone. But you know, and my daughter in we've had some great experiences with her class at school, and like I have her class in a class, not in a special
Okay.
class,
Good. Yep. Yep.
in class with her peers, and they are so they love her so much. I mean, they think that she's
Oh.
the coolest, the sweetest. Like they wish they had a wheelchair. I mean, it's really sweet. But I have even noticed kids that are not in her class, that come at her class time every week, you know, will be just at recital last week, and kids were like, "What's wrong with her?" And I said back, "Nothing," and I just
Right.
smile, "Nothing," and just smile,
Yep.
and then they like, and sometimes I'll like say, "Oh, well, this is her wheelchair. This is how she gets around." But it's so funny though, because if you explain to these kids, "Oh, well, this is her wheelchair." I mean, matter of fact, this is her wheelchair. This is how she gets around.
Yep.
It's a light bulb, and they're not
Right. Right.
scared known, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
understand a wheelchair. Why would they be in that? And once you're explaining, well, this is how she gets around. That's it.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and it's almost like light bulb goes off, and they're like, "Okay, well, hey, what's her name?" And they're like,
Right.
communicating.
Yeah. They think the wheelchair is like so cool.
Oh my gosh, why don't I have one? I love this one. It's got sparkles. I mean, it's so funny. I'm like, I don't know if you want one, but
Yeah.
it's cool. They
Challenging. It's very challenging.
sweet. It
Um.
really.
So. So did you know that she had this genetic when you were pregnant, or you got the diagnosis after?
Yes. So I did not know I was pregnant. We had her, even as a nurse, she wasn't eating great
Okay.
about it. And about 4 months, when she was about 4 months old, she had a seizure. And so we immediately went into the hospital and ran tests. And, my mind never even went anywhere towards disability or genetic disorder.
Right.
It really went, like, that's really where my mind went. Oh my
Right.
gosh, she's got that's causing it.
Right.
And so we did the MRI or CT scan, whichever one they did, and it came back that there was no tumor. And so then I'm like, well, so why would she have seizures? So even as a nurse, it's not something that you see often, that's very common. That started our journey, but luckily, not only am I, but unluckily for her, and had an appointment to meet with a geneticist,
Okay.
and it was like 6 months, 12 months out, and I called every single day for
Oh
cancellations. Hey,
yeah.
cancellation today. I'm calling for Avery Joy Benjamin. And so finally, like after like a month of doing that, they called me and said, "We've got to want to come." I'm like, Yes, we'll be there. And so, persistence pays off. You got
Oh,
to be,
yeah.
to get what you need, you've got to be a little persistent sometimes.
Absolutely. In the disabled community, yes.
You have to do, yes.
Wow. So that is so interesting. So, what is the genetic mutation?
Yeah, so it's called adenine. That's a condition. Um, just that I'm not good. I was never good at chemistry growing up,
Oh, yeah, no.
but I think about it as like the little a, like, so it was something we both had, but it's a 25% rare, so it's pretty crazy that she, we ended up together and she ended up with it, which to me also makes it that much more. Look at how purposeful her life is that we together
Yeah.
people with her diagnosis. I mean, it's very rare, but throughout like
Oh, you're breaking up.
found so many different people that we were able to connect through social media.
Absolutely, yeah. Social media is a game changer.
It
Uh,
is.
yeah, so I got my mom knew that I had muscular dystrophy at 3, but we actually didn't have the genetic testing until
Oh,
16.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just funny because when I ask young, teeny boppers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got genetic testing at 3." I'm like, "Damn, I'm old."
Golly. Okay, this is a silly question. Was it harder for y'all to get equipment approved with you not having that like diagnosis if they get the testing? Like, did it make? Because I felt like this is silly.
No, because I
Hard,
think I
everything
think like
kind of
muscular dystrophy wasn't just like the insurance, so like we didn't have like the type of muscular dystrophy, but like yeah, like we got equipment, but like not much.
right,
Like you said, like you were, insurance denied your wheelchair. I've had that so many times.
right.
I
Yeah,
mean, it literally took a year to like give me the wheelchair. Thank God we have like backups.
right.
Just like imagine that. I'm sorry, a plane. Um, but me and my mom just think of people that don't have the money to have a backup wheelchair.
Right.
And, having, like you said, the persistence to call the company and harass them to get it
Well,
quicker.
and that's the thing, right? Like, so that's something I even thought about because not only my persistent, but her therapy, they're persistent as well. And so not only was
Right.
and saying, okay, we need to get this wheelchair, but her therapists were also writing letters,
Yeah.
sending in a. I thought, like, what if somebody, because it does get overwhelming. What if somebody had something? Hey, Kate, I love you. That's my friends, and my family. But what if somebody had a parent that didn't even know you could be persistent or could even, you know,
Oh, you broke up. You broke up.
oh,
Hello. Yeah, no, just persistence. I mean, it's just ridiculous that you have to just. I mean, even doctors. I had like a scary case like probably 4 months ago. I had a stroke at 22. I couldn't get in to the neurologist until
no,
a month. I I never like shut like I don't open my mouth. My mom is opening her mouth like But I was just so pissed. I was like, dude, I had a stroke at 22. I had a cardiac, event that you can't even slip me in. He was
Right.
just like, oh, I don't know. Like, he was just playing dumb. And I had to, like, literally go to my car because I, like, screamed in my car. I'm like,
Oh,
bro,
I hate.
it's literally at your portal. You see me trying so hard. And it was just like I just get mad.
Right. Which is understandable.
Right. Um, yeah, it just, I don't know. It's just, we have a really awesome wheelchair that the insurance gave us, the per meal, like $5,000, whatever. But we don't have the money to um, get an accessible vehicle.
Right.
And
Right.
like
And that's
people don't
right.
talk about that.
Right.
Oh, okay, your insurance is gonna uh, provide you with the wheelchair. Well, how am I gonna get around? I live
Right.
in suburban,
Right. So let me
so
ask, like
yeah,
public transportation there in New York, do you have problems getting on public transportation, or is
yeah.
that something that you navigate?
I I never do it like because I'm like 29. I just park my car in the city. You know, I took the train when I was younger, but it's just like you have to call the captain, get the ramp. It's like you can't like go to the city and just have fun.
Right.
Like you're always on your toes, you
It's
know?
work, right? Like, yeah.
So I mean I think I did the bus. The bus is accessible. Um but yeah, not if I can drive my car. I mean, we have a lift, like a little lift that my mom paid for, not the insurance company. Um, and we take our car because I'm
Right.
just, you know, and planes, forget about it. Now, I mean, obviously, you see the news. Have
Right.
you traveled with your daughter?
I have not by plane. Now we will drive places. Look, you can see her wheelchair's in the
Yeah,
back now.
yeah.
Her grandmother today, and so her wheelchair's like back there. But we have not. So I just recently won a trip to Sweden.
Yes, I was
I
so. Oh
was
my god, so cool.
Taylor Swift, and I was going to bring her, but then the concert was 13 and up, which worked out because I was like, how am I going to? It was just for two, so I was like, how am I going to bring her in her wheelchair? Then I'm going to have to bring her car seat, but then we also have to have our bags. Like, how am I going to? So it worked out because, but I was like, oh my gosh, but I would love to, be able to fly with her one day, but it is. Even meds and her, she fed her milk,
Yeah,
like that's a lot. I'm like, how do they even? I'm sure there's a way to do it, but like you said, it's so much work,
yeah, and when you have a controlled substance like my tramadol, my
Oh,
pain reliever. Oh my god, that's like another one. I'm always at CVS. I'm always calling my doctor.
right,
Blah blah blah. It's the same situation, as the feet. It's just like
right,
ay ay ay.
right.
But I'm so glad that you went on that trip in Sweden. How
Yeah,
did you like win that?
I I just entered on Instagram. I
Wow.
entered on Instagram. Happened to um, yeah, great little country. Um, full of yeah, experience.
That's so cool. I want to, but it's so expensive.
Oh, I know. I know. So let me ask you this. This is another
Yeah,
question I have.
yep.
So,
I love questions.
for concerts, so back in October,
Yep.
I took Avery to Shania Twain. It was something I
Oh,
really wanted to do,
cool.
Twain, and I wanted
Yeah.
her to experience that with me.
Yes.
You could not buy accessible tickets. You had to buy regular tickets, show up the day of the concert, go to the help desk at the concert, and you had to request an accessible ticket, but you were not guaranteed that it would be as good as the tickets you bought, and you were not guaranteed. So we could come with her in her wheelchair. We could go, and all the accessibility seats, getting an accessible seat, but we had that like fear of, okay, what's going to happen if we get there and they've already given out and like what's crazy is there was nobody else in wheelchairs but her, but like all the accessible seatings were taken, and I'm like,
right.
no, like really have to have somewhere where she's accessible. Like I can't get her out of her wheelchair and her sit in a chair the whole time. Like
Right.
she has to stay. So aside from when I like try to get her on my experience that like 19 concert.
In New York, they're kind of good. Now they really have like the same prices. Now, but growing up, like, like I'm obviously close to the city. They jack up the price. Not now, but like when I was like younger, they would jack up the price to have an accessible seat. So I was petty. I was like, 21. I would just buy the tickets, go to the concerts, and they would just give me, the VIP treatment.
Like, well, and that's what was so like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I said, what's going to happen is they're going to accommodate us.
Oh, yeah.
Legally, they have to accommodate her. Legally,
honestly, concerts, I was telling my girlfriend, concerts go the extra mile.
That's one.
Like, every concert's like EDM, rap, hip hop, like, every concert goes the extra mile. It's so cool now. Like, accessibility, like, inclusion. Like, we went to an EDM concert. It was her first concert, and she was like, oh my God, they treat you like a celebrity. I'm like, that's why I go to concerts, because they're so easy.
That's wonderful. I love to hear that. Because we have not tried since then. So.
Oh yeah, you have to. No, they really give you the best treatment. It's awesome. I love concerts, so
That's it. Well, my daughter loves light. She loves music. She loves to be around people. So like anything that includes all three things.
Yeah.
Like,
And she does dance, right?
Yeah.
It is. Oh my God, I can't talk. Is it accessibility like dance, or just like just totally?
She is in a regular class with. They just have, she has a helper.
Okay.
And sometimes like she had kind of a difficult seizure year, and so her helper like did her arms for her. In years past, they'll do arms like during practice, and sometimes they'll let go and she'll do her arm on her own because she can sometimes.
Yep.
When she's not really weak. But yeah, she is in the classroom with her peers.
That is awesome.
Right. So actually, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
So I did a class. I did a class at our state capitol that was put on by the Office of Developmental Disabilities.
Cool.
Parents, but it was also. And so what I learned there was by talking with people with disabilities, because my daughter can express her likes or dislikes and things like that, except like by screaming at me and telling me. But like, I wanted to hear from them, like, what was most important to you growing up,
Right.
And all of them were like, we just want to be included. We did not want to be secluded. We didn't want to be in a separate class, separate thing. And so I really, but because before that, I thought, oh, let's do I don't think they call it like adaptive class or this. I was wanting to push for that, and then after meeting people with disabilities and like hearing them that, I was like, I do not want that for her. Like, I want her with kids.
Yep.
And put them together will be good for her and them. And I'm going to tell you, not only did she flourish by being in a classroom with her peers, but they also, I feel like, have
Right.
gained much and knowledge and
Yep.
they know when she's having a seizure at, like, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Right.
They are getting experience with things that it was 20 years old before I
Right.
experienced seizures and like that. So it was such a good thing. Like,
Wow. That's so
from,
cool.
right. And I learned from people with disabilities. So I really respect. I love to hear you, because that means so much to parents like me who their daughter or their child is not able to tell them physically,
Right. Right.
um, and because I listened, I feel like her life has flourished and her life as well.
Yeah, my mom decided to do the exact same thing. We had a disability school in Long Island. Great, we loved it. I had swimming class, but as again, my mom heard that you have like a better experiences and having to go and this normal school, and it was very tough, but my best friends are like from there, so
Right.
like I met the awesome people, and I really did a lot. I think I don't think now, but when I graduated 10 years ago, my guidance counselor was pushing me to do like a trade school, and I don't, it's no like whatever, that's cool, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to college, like I'm gonna get my bachelor's. And
Right.
they're like, oh, they were like kind of like, oh, I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to Tampa, like I'm gonna out of state. And they're like, whoa, like are you, are you okay?
I love that. That's
And I mean, thank God my mom like supporting my dreams. I went to 2 years of community college, saved my money, and then I got a scholarship through Tampa. And I went there and I was like, I did it, like, and
I love
uh,
them.
and it was
That's
so cool because like you know 10 years ago, they were like, oh, yeah, go to the shade school. You don't, like, kind of like meaning like you have no, like, like life skills. I'm like, nah, like, I'll kill it.
right.
See me 10 years, later. And now they're like, oh my God, I love your books. Like, I love what you're doing. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
duh. I'm Courtney.
Right.
Like,
The sky's the limit,
it
right? Like,
really is. And, you know, like the dance class, I love it. I went to horseability. I think if you have that,
what is
please, like
that?
horseability, like horseback riding therapy,
Wanting to let her do that for so long, I need to find one close.
the best memories, like the best memories. And it was expensive, but I didn't really have the abilities to like go to softball, like go to like, whatever soccer. So my mom did like probably like 6 years of
Oh,
horse therapy.
well,
Loved it. I loved it. And I talk about it all the time. Like, Mom, thank God, like you you did that because it's like my best memories growing up.
I love that. That's so wonderful.
Yeah, it's hard, but you did the best.
That's it.
Um, but I wanted to just wrap it up to talk about your children's books. So you have
Yeah.
four, or I can't.
I have four. I have
Four.
four. One is just simply like, it's called A Mother's Love, and it's just the mother's love for her children.
Well,
But the other three are specifically about inclusion, disability. Um, so one of them actually, the little boy I like waved at, Kate, that was one. He actually is my son's best friend and is also kind of a family member, but he's
Oh,
diabetic. And so when I wrote that book, I collaborated with my illustrator. His name's Michael Garriga, and I sent him pictures of children with disabilities. Like, this is Avery. I want this, a child to look like Avery. This is Cade, and I want the kid that has diabetes to look like Cade. And so he fashioned these characters after children with disabilities, like real life disabilities. And I think the one that has a limb difference, he knew somebody, and so he asked, like, could I use your daughter as my inspiration? And so I think he had purple hair, but anyways, it was so cool. And then at the back of the book, we were like, let's do a glossary. So it is from a child's perspective,
oh, that's
and
cool.
so, like, Avery, it has a picture of her, the cartoon picture of her, and has epilepsy, G-tube, and her disorder, and it explains them from a child's point of view. But not
Oh,
like
I like that.
a dictionary, but it's like, epilepsy. Sometimes I stare off into space, or I
Yeah.
may, my muscles may, move, contract, or so it's from a like child. We did type 1 diabetes cell, and or I can't even remember what all we did, but we did a couple diagnoses and put them the explanations next to them, that from a child's point of view to a child's point of view. And so I just thought that would be really cool because it makes it real
Yeah,
for them.
absolutely.
It's just like, oh, okay, like her G tube, and
Yeah.
explaining that's how I eat. Instead of like eating with my mouth, I eat with a tube in my tummy. And it's just, I don't know, it was very cool. It was a very cool process. Able to collaborate on it and do that. And I'm very proud of that. Very
Yeah.
cool.
I love it. I love all inclusion books. They're so cool.
Well, and they're so needed, right? Like, especially if, at my daughter's school, right? Like, there are like a good many of children that are in her, they have a class of them
Okay.
together, and like she's in
Yep.
class, but then she gets pulled into a classroom where they do her therapy and
Yep.
things.
Yep.
Um, So there is a good many, but there are schools, especially private schools in the area. They don't have
Okay.
disabilities because
Yeah.
they don't, right? Like, they're not
No.
accommodating.
Nope. They're not.
Um, anyway, so there are so many children who are never
Yep.
exposed to people with disabilities. So, like, it's just so important that children are taught from a young age to be inclusive.
Yep. And that's why I started this company with my coloring books, because I have a cousin who's 4, and I was just like, I want to just teach her, like you said, just growing up with like a coloring book, that a a girl in a wheelchair is just normal. Like, that's my cousin. So that's just what I like started. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for married, and then I'm like, wait, like people actually like this. So like, why don't just put it in a company and do this? And it's just
Right.
so cool. Like, it's just so cool. Like, I can donate the books. I did that last year. Like, donate, like, I think it was like 300 books to the
Wow.
Ronald McDonald in Long Island. They're like, oh my god, they love it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, I just love to just give back to the community, because obviously grew up here, and I just want to sprinkle inclusion.
That's it. That's it. And that's such a service you're doing, to others as they're growing up and seeing that. Just like you being represented is so important.
Exactly, and
Um,
all the disabilities. It's really cool.
yeah,
Oh, you broke up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Still
yes, I
here?
can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. Yes. I'm so glad you shared that with me. That's so important and needed.
Yeah, it's cool. And like this podcast, I love to connect with, the disability community because it's so cool that social media is here and we can, support each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is such a wonderful community, and it's wonderful to hear other thoughts on things and to get other ideas on different things. And
Yes.
everybody goes through so much different, but also so much that is so
Yes.
similar. And so it's nice to see representation not only of the motherhood side of it, that people are going through things I'm going through, but also like to see other people that are, represented such as yourself that have a disability and living such a full life. It's such a testament for us as a mother to like see somebody with a disability living such a full life, because that is that, right? Like you are someone that has SMA, it does not have
Yep.
you,
Yep. Yep.
to have.
I know. My best friend literally told me that like 2 weeks ago. She's like you're just medical history. Like you are a testament that you can have a great ass life and have a disability.
That's it. That's it. And it's see, because I think sometimes like it's so easy to get bogged down in like
Absolutely.
the appointments and the problems and the denials and everything wrong. And it's so nice to think about you know things, what can be and what's possible.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And thank God, the United States have the ADA because I went to Europe, Italy, France, and whatever in September. It was just like kind of, I don't know. They didn't really have like you know ramps, and they were not helping. And I was like, okay, I have appreciation of our
Right.
country and how far we go.
Well, and for the people that fought for that, there were people that
Exactly.
you know, fault. They took wheelchairs. I think we learned about it. Now it's been some years, but I think they literally like went in their wheelchairs and crawled up the
Yep.
stairs to like show this is not okay.
No.
You know, and like what's sad is still to this day things are not. I mean,
No.
think about we've gone to golf at the beach, and it is. It, like I don't know how it's legal. Like it is not accessible. We cannot do it as a family. Um,
They don't have the mat.
no.
Oh
I mean,
my god.
like one time we were like, we're gonna do it, and my husband and I were just gonna pick up both sides of the wheelchair and make it work, and it ended up being a volcano mini golf, and so it was like up 14 stairs, down 12, up 3, down 4. I mean, it was too. I was like, this is too much. Like this is not a her. Like this is too much for me. Like we cannot do this, and so we had to like separate and kind of go hang out in the arcade so my husband and son could play. So there are still like so much that can be done ADA wise.
Absolutely. Yep.
Um, but thankful, like you said, for all that's been done before us as well.
Yeah. And we like you said, we need a lot of more, you know, a lot of more accessibility.
Absolutely.
I'm fighting as well as having that.
Right.
It's 2024. Like, wake up.
Right. Right.
People like it's just normal to have a disability. So
Well, and like not going, not coming out of their house or not getting their child out because things are not accessible. And so the more people don't go
right,
out, the more not needed, because people think, well, we don't have that many people trying to get in. But it's just the fact, people kind of get tired of trying to go do something and it not being accessible and things
right,
like that. So, um, just have to keep pushing.
We'll have to keep pushing. Well, thank you so much. I had such a fun time
Yes,
talking to you.
I have to do this again. This was fun.
Yes. And thank you for being the best super mom and advocating for your daughter. Oh my God, I love your videos. I was watching all the videos
Thank you so
this morning. And yeah, have an awesome day and say hi to your kids.
I sure will. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
And I so enjoyed this.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.